What's going on, everybody? Tyler Kenyon here with California Bass and Guide Service. Today we're out on the California Delta doing a little multi-species fishing. Gonna bring a little report to you, show you a few clips. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so as I said, we're out here on the California Delta today. Specifically, we're up fishing on the north end of the McCollum River. Right now we're sitting right outside the mouth of Hog Slough. Just got done catching a bunch of stripers. I mean, the last 2 hours it was every other cast catching stripers from 15 to about 25, 26 inches. The water temperature today, we were looking at about 58 degrees when I launched around 10 in the morning, and now it warmed up to about 59. We've got a lot of cloud cover and it's a fairly windy day. Started the day out on the San Joaquin River fishing around, caught a couple shaker stripers and a couple small largemouth on lipless crankbaits and jerkbaits. Then kind of got blown off the river. The wind got pretty bad. So I ran down around Frank's Track, fished around there a little bit, not much luck. Came up White Slough and Little Potato, fished around in there. Same thing, just not a lot going on. So I ran into the McCollum, came all the way up to Hog Slough, and I shot all the way to the back, where I ended up picking up quite a few largemouth, everywhere from about 12 inches. The biggest one was about 3.5 pounds. All of my largemouth primarily came on a jerkbait, and it was this is the Lucky Craft Pointer 112 medium runner. It's all kinds of chewed up right now. Been catching stripers on it too, but it's kind of a matte white ghost minnow color. Caught most of my largemouth on that, as well as I actually caught my biggest striper on that, which was about 27, 28 inches. Then there was a lot of salmon back there, so you do have to be careful throwing these big baits, breaking off, and the regulations right now, you're not allowed to be targeting salmon. It is inevitable you're going to hook one every once in a while when you're fishing around these stripers and these bass, because the salmon are right in there with them. But just make sure you know not to keep any of them, and you're actually not even supposed to bring them on board. So I was just reaching over with a pair of pliers and unhooking one. I hooked 2 of them. So I just unhooked them on the side of the boat and kind of vacated the area because they were piled up back in there. I made my way out to the back to the McCollum, and that's where I found most of the stripers that I caught today. So specifically on islands that are dead center in the mouth of a slough. So those fish, it didn't really matter the tide. On incoming tide, they were positioned, you know, on the opposite side and just kind of on the back end of those points, waiting for the current to drift the bait around. And once you find a good school of stripers, you really don't need to go anywhere. I put the power poles down, and I've been sitting in this exact spot for I think 2.5, 3 hours, and just consistently catching them. It slowed down a little bit, but still every 5 minutes I'm catching a striper. So it's just a lot of fun out here right now. Most of the damage on stripers, like I said, I caught my biggest one on the jerkbait, and I caught probably 5 or 6 on that jerkbait. But what I've caught most of those stripers on is the Lucky Craft Gunfish. This is the bigger one. I've actually caught so many fish on it I had to swap the hooks out twice. I've been bending hooks out. Throwing that in a ghost minnow color as well, and just kind of real aggressively walking that along. And a lot of times these stripers will come up and they'll miss it 2 or 3 times, miss it, and I'll just sit there, I'll be hitting it, they'll come up and miss it, and I'll just pause it and wait there for a minute. And 9 times out of 10, while you're sitting there pausing for maybe 10-15 seconds, they'll come back and just slurp it up without you even doing anything. If they don't get it within about 10-15 seconds after I pause, I'll just give it a couple twitches, maybe twitch, and let it sit, and usually they'll come back and get it. I don't know if it's the same striper, but with how many are in the schools, once you get them fired up, one of them's going to come up and tag it. I also caught a handful of stripers on the S-Waver 200, and I was throwing it in abalone shad just because that's the only color I had on the boat today. Caught a couple on there. Surprisingly, not a lot of big ones came up and ate that. I was throwing it when they would come up and boil on top. I would throw that and just really aggressively chop it on the surface of the water. What I've noticed is once you get into these stripers, the more aggressive you can work a bait, the better it's going to be. So don't be afraid. You're not going to overwork a bait on these stripers. I mean, hit those topwater walking baits as hard as you can. Really chop those glide baits, and you'll definitely get them to react. I'll be out here doing this striper thing for the next couple weeks, so if anybody wants to get out, come up and get on some of this good striper action, you can shoot me a call, send me an email, or contact me through my website. I'll leave all those links down below in the video description. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.